Women are suffering the consequences of men going their own way.
And I decided to leave. He offered to walk into my Uber and then he grabbed my hip. He pulled me in. It was like the most sensual goodbye kiss I have had in such a long time. Absolutely gonna see him again.
Women are suffering the consequences of men going their own way. Today's videos come from Manosphere Highlights Daily. His channel will be linked in the description so you can go and check him out and give him some support. And, a lot of women said that, hey, guys, we don't need you, we don't want you. And now men are walking away, and women are discovering the consequences of hanging out in the streets with Chad and Tyrone. Watch this video to fully understand how this will implicate women going forward and how men are just going to begin adjusting to the changing atmosphere and relationship in society. Now let's just go ahead and jump right into the video.
Welcome to Manosphere Highlights Daily. Today we're diving into Maddie McCrae's Dating Diaries, a TikTok series where she documents her modern dating experiences in detail. Maddie's dating journey, now on date number 13, is a prime example of how modern women view relationships today. And I'm here to tell you, it's for recreational use only. The essential aspects of dating, the deeper connection, and long-term commitment are all watered down, replaced by a focus on casual fun and instant gratification. Let's talk about it. Now it's time for us to get into this and do what we gotta do. Because we men, ain't we? We men, ain't we?
This year I am dating 2024 the plot, which means I actually have to go on dates. Let's get ready for date one. This is a series I'm calling The Dating Diaries. Maybe Bridget Jones? Dating Maddie McCrae's diary?
Maddie is what I'd call your average looking woman. With makeup, she can enhance her appearance, but she's not competing in the upper echelon of the dating market in terms of looks, and yet she has no problem securing dates. The reason? Average looking women can still get dates in today's market, while average men are struggling to even get noticed. And we can thank dating apps like Hinge and Bumble for that.
While I sip on this, let me tell you the details of the date. We matched on Hinge. Remember last video, I told you that I sent out a bunch of likes and I just went like. And then I started chatting with 3. I am going on dates with all 3 of them. Date 5 was the first one. Date 6 is another one. I have another date this Sunday. I'm stressed. I'm on the market for a husband. So, all these guys, they're signing up for my dance card. Anyway.
She meets most of her dates on these apps. And like many women today, Maddie is never short on options.
You see, guys, it's pretty interesting how society works for women. Women don't realize the amount of work and effort that men have to put into everything. Dating is like a complete game for them. This is why women now have websites or groups like Are We Dating the Same Guy, where they're able to cyber stalk men before they even go on dates with them and read reviews from other women that have gone on dates with them or have matched with them on dating apps. And a lot of these reviews will be negative. For example, if you're gonna have women who did not end up having a matching with these guys well, having a good experience with them, or like the guy was just not interested, you think they're gonna say positive things? They're going to slander him. So these groups are basically hate groups. Don't forget that you have a guy who matched with a bunch of women on these different apps. He went on dates with some of them. And what ended up happening was a lot of women came together on Are We Dating the Same Guy and began slandering his reputation, slandering him, forwarding his personal information. He basically sued like 50 different women. And, some of the suit was dismissed, but evidently the suit is still going. He's been on some podcasts where he's done interviews regarding the lawsuit, the fact that he's taking them to court. And what's really interesting about the case is that a lot of these women are finding it very difficult to get someone to represent them. So basically, a lot of what they did was cyber stalking. This could actually fall under laws that would protect the same laws that would protect women from, basically guys posting their personal information or their pictures or things like that online. These laws would potentially also cover this. Some of these women could be facing serious jail time. but at the very least, civil penalties. And again, nothing may happen. But what's very interesting is that it would appear, there's like 50 women and they're all representing themselves. This was like the strangest thing I've ever seen. 50 women and they're all representing themselves. And a lot of these women are professionals, and none of them could secure a lawyer, or is it simply that no lawyer wanted to touch this? Because if you go around doing these things online and thinking that you can get away with it, what I mean, come on. Platforms like Facebook Forever, when they are contacted by the media about are we dating the same guy? Because it's basically a cyber stalking setup for women. Facebook basically refuses to comment on it. So they damn well know that there are serious implications in it, but they're able to profit off it. So they're basically just going to let it keep going until it gets shut down. And of course, there are laws that protect social media companies from lawsuits based on, when these types of groups are on there. So for user generated content. So Facebook would simply say that, it was user generated content. They're not the ones who engaged in it. And as soon as, law enforcement or, you know, um, reached out or whatever, and they became aware of the implications, they removed it. You have to understand that this thing has spread to many different cities across the United States. Like it's insane. So the dating landscape is basically a woman's forte, and men are basically left as the victims. There was a book I believe called like The Manipulated Male, written by Esther something, and it came out, I forget if it was in the 70s or 80s. And she basically talked about the fact that men are the ones who are actually victims and being manipulated into believing that society actually gives a damn about them. The reality is that men are suffering, and women have been taking advantage of men for decades. Men have been the victims of women and society for decades. And there's a lot of women who've come to this conclusion and they realized it. And of course, the sisterhood has gone after them and shut them down. Many of you may not forget, or many of you may remember that a few months ago, there was a woman from the sisterhood who popped up on my channel saying that this is just an example of it, saying that men and women need to support one another, and the biggest problem is that physical intimacy entered the chat, and we should never have been talking about sex and men and women being together intimately, or the need to get married or have children. We should be supporting each other as a community. She's like, I love you, my brothers, I love you, my sisters. And when I pointed out to her that, listen, you're not, well, you don't want to be physically intimate with a man, you don't want to be apart, you don't want to be married, you don't want to have children, so you're going to be excluded from the family unit. So if you want support and resources, you're going to have to turn to the state to provide those to you, because you have nothing to offer to a man. And she basically said that out. She said no physical intimacy from sisters. Notice I did not focus on that specific detail. I just pointed out that she doesn't want to be engaged in physical intimacy. She doesn't want to be married. She doesn't want to have children. She's now in her 30s, and outside of her immediate family, she's going to be excluded from the family unit. So she's going to have to turn to the state for the state to subsidize her living. And she went absolutely ballistic, called me a predator, said that I showed my true ways. No, no, she said no physical intimacy, and she said sex from sisters equals no help. You've shown your hand that you are a predator. And you're basically and you're dangerous. No, this literally happened. And it was pretty interesting because I showed you guys the email, I showed you guys the comment, and it's just funny because it just shows you the sisterhood is broke. The sisterhood is real. There are a lot of women who come by and say there's no such thing as the sisterhood. That's a damn lie. Okay, that's a damn lie. The sisterhood is absolutely real. The thing is that it's very fragile. They'll come together and work together to destroy the lives of men and get access to the resources of men. But the thing is that what they don't tell you is that they absolutely hate one another. All right, they absolutely hate one another, and they would easily turn on one another. Because you have to think about it. You're dealing with peepers. You're dealing with vipers who, they hate men. They'll actively destroy the lives of men. And what, you think they actually like each other? You think they like women? No. People who hate on others, if they hate men, then trust me, they don't like one another. They will just collectively work together to get what they want. But when that fails for them, guys, I'm telling you, like, as this whole empowerment thing fails, a lot of women will turn on one another instantly. and they will turn on one another in a heartbeat. I had a friend who was a part of he was one of the OG MGTOWs. He knows a lot about the origins of MGTOW, guys. I one of the first, and when I say MGTOW, there's different versions of MGTOW. There's version 1.0, which is something similar to what they call neo masculinity. That was about bringing men and women back together and rebuilding the relationship. And then in between MGTOW 1.0 and 2.0, there was really a 1.5, and that's where the central ideas basically began to appear, and the framework began to appear for MGTOW 2.0. MGTOW 2.0, the MGTOW that you're familiar with, most of you guys don't know about 1.0. So modern MGTOW, men choosing to opt out of relationships and society, that is something that actually formed on YouTube. That's where this community came from. But between that, there was another community, and during that 1.5 era, with the transition from 1.0 to 2.0, and believe it or not, there was a lot of men walking away there, who were men walking away from society, and they were married. There were a lot of married men who were, and it was MGTOW 1.5 actually looked a lot more like MWA, and that was basically men walking away from the things that don't work for them. And I remember like talking to some of these guys back then. Again, this was like 10 years, over 10 years ago. And they were saying that, for example, this was over 10 years ago because I've been on YouTube for 10 years. Yeah, they were saying that who are you to say that a man cannot walk away with a woman? So again, yeah, or go his own way with a woman. So again, they were still saying go your own way, but it was much more similar to MGT to MWA. Granted, MWA is literally men with alternatives, and it's amazing how this community has grown and men have defined it. Men walking away as men with alternatives. Basically, you're choosing from your best alternatives, walking away from toxic things and toxic people, and getting rid of the things that don't work for you and choosing the things that do. But anyway, MGTOW to MGTOW 2.0 came along, and then we ended up with the current structure of things. And it's very intriguing how it's grown over time. A lot of men, regardless if the label is there or not anymore, they're going to naturally move towards MGTOW because it incentivizes them to, separate themselves from relationships in a society that hates them, and instead focus on themselves, spend money on themselves. If you look at what's happening in China right now, the simp economy is being absolutely decimated. Okay, men are realizing, they've been giving women an undue amount of attention and resources. They buy women gifts and they just throw them in the trash. But this past year, 2024, Valentine's Day over there was crazy. These men basically were like, they stopped giving gifts. They began realizing it's better to just spend the money on themselves. And they began opting out of relationships because they're like, it's no longer worth it. And the gold diggers over there are crying their eyes out because the economy for them is collapsing. Something to talk about, something to mention regarding the simp economy as well. The simp economy is absolutely insane. When you look at the amount of money being generated, it's ridiculous. So Only Fools, OF creators reportedly out-earned the entire NBA by $1.7 billion. In an era where online platforms have become gold mines, Only Fools creators are raking in staggering amounts of money, so much that they reportedly out-earned NBA players by a jaw-dropping 1.7 billion in 2023, according to the report by Basketball Forever. OnlyFans content creators collectively earned $6.6 billion, surpassing the $4.9 billion total earned of NBA players for the 2023/2024 season. Per Unilad, the numbers have left many people in disbelief, particularly since the highest paid NBA player, what the hell? The highest paid NBA player, Steph Curry, took home a salary of $51 million last year, almost $52 million last season. However, Only Fools, known for its explicit content, has enabled some content creators to make fortunes even greater than that of elite athletes. And there's a picture of it, showing like 6.6 6.6 billion taken in by OnlyFools creators, while 4.9 billion taken in by the NBA. LeBron and Steph Curry. So, and LeBron is evidently now a billionaire. So OnlyFools' astonishing rise. While the sheer volume of creators on OnlyFools explains the higher volume earnings compared to the NBA, the platform's top earners have been making headlines for their eye-watering sums they pull in. Former Disney star Bella Thorne is estimated to rake in $11 million per month, which would see her eclipse, guys, 11 million per month, which would see her eclipse top NBA earners like LeBron James and Kevin Durant. Even lesser known creators have found remarkable success. Bonnie Blue, for instance, disclosed she earns $250,000. She earned $250,000 in just 21 days during a spring break challenge. And Bryce Adam, another top creator, revealed how she transformed her 10-acre property into a content empire, telling you what the Washington Post, people don't understand the scale of the opportunity. You can make your own world. Now, despite the collective earnings of OnlyFools creators surpassing NBA salaries, it's important to note that the average salary of an NBA player far exceeds what most individual content creators on OnlyFools makes. Still, the top earners on the platform are competing and sometimes surpassing professional athletes. But if we actually ask what does the average, let's see here, average OnlyFools creator make, it's not that much. You'd actually be very, very surprised. So we pulled some data up. We went ahead and just pulled some stuff up, and we'll go ahead and put that on the screen so you guys can see it. But it's actually quite surprising. It's actually very, very surprising. The average OnlyFools creator is absolutely not making anywhere what people would think. So here it is. The average OnlyFools creator makes $180 per month, but the top creators earn over $100,000 monthly. More than 300 creators earn over $1 million annually, while 16,000 creators earn more than $50,000 per year. While over 16,000. So guys, think about this very carefully. Only 16,000 creators on OnlyFools earn more than 50,000 per year. Okay? Only 16,000. That's ridiculous. The average monthly earnings of a content creator on OnlyFools, however, is only $180. Only 16,000 make above 50,000 per year. So they're selling their souls. The average girl is selling her soul for pennies. And once she's on this platform, it's over for her. That's the end of it, because it will always be there. It'll always be a part of her tax returns. I mean, if she goes to McDonald's and tries to get a job at Mickey D's afterwards, she will, it will be there. And then it's a really sad reality. Most of these women are not making any real money, but because they want instant gratification, they went down this path, and now they messed around and they're going to find out. They've been disillusioned. It's a lot of it is the Jezebel spirit. The Jezebel spirit has inhibited so many of them, and it has fooled so many of them into believing that they can get something for nothing, that they've gone down this wicked path, and now it's going to lead them to damnation. I think about it so often, like how easy it is for evil to, unfortunately, take over women, because women immediately see dollar signs. Like, for example, when you look at Adam and Eve, women are easily tricked, because they immediately think of instant gratification. When we talk about physical intimacy, you guys have to understand that women like physical intimacy way more than we do. All right. In fact, they want it right away. They want instant gratification right away. If Chad and Tyrone weren't instantly available, trust me, the average guy would easily have a chance. It's because of the internet and the ease of accessing Chad, Tyrone, and high value men, why these women are able to behave this way and engage in this type of behavior. The thing that women don't seem to realize is that they don't have a multitude of men lining up to marry them or to be in relationships with them. They think that they're going to find Mr. Right very easily. Women don't realize just how hard it is to find a guy that actually wants to marry them and settle down with them, especially in today's reality. It's, I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible. They can always go out there and find themselves a simp, but do they want that actual simp? Do they want to settle down with that guy? You see where I'm going with this? They actually find a guy that's a marriageable man, a marriageable man. And let's be very clear, guys. A lot of men are not marriageable men. Just because a woman, women have the expectations of modern women is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. But then on the counter argument, while a woman could easily find a man that she could be intimate with and marry right away, to actually find a guy that has his life together, that can provide for a family, that can take care of a family, that can hold her down, to find a guy that even makes $50,000 a year, guys, I want you to understand that's not as easy as women think. They're like, oh, I don't want no guy making $50,000 a year. Most men, very few people, like only 10% of the of the U.S. population makes like $100,000 a year. All right. So I mean, technically speaking, I'm in the top 10% of Americans. Okay. Because I make six figures on this channel, just from this channel alone. But that's not common. That is completely not common for the average American. The average American does not see that. It's only like 10% of Americans make like 10 figures. Okay, I make six figures. And even at $50,000, we're just looking at what the average man makes. We're not looking at the lower end or even at the middle end. A lot of men don't even barely make between $30,000 and $40,000 a year. So a lot of men don't really have it like that. Women think that they can pick and choose and find any man that they want. The truth is that they really can't, because once you isolate, the guys who are just trying to do the whole pump and dump scheme, and then the guys who are creeps and scumbags, once you actually go for a good, decent guy that actually can hold a woman down, the dating pool is much smaller, and women don't realize this because they're remaining single for much longer, and they're out in the streets for much longer. So many women who leave their husbands and then go, they return to the streets, they then discover that it's much more difficult to get married again. It's much, much more difficult to get married again. And if they have children, oh, then it's ridiculous. It's crazy. Because every single mom thinks that she's a high value woman because of social media, and she can easily go and find any man that she wants. That's an absolute and utter joke. Especially with the rise of the passport kings, women are waking up to a different reality that they're not always going to get what they want right away. And men are no longer playing this game. Men don't want to be, Tyrone. They don't want to be, a baby daddy, and they don't want to take care of Tyrone's kids anymore, or Chad's kids anymore, or little Poncho's kids anymore. Too many little Francisco Juniors are running around. Little Poncho is evidently short for Francisco. Okay. So there's too many little Poncho Juniors running around. No more of that nonsense. These men don't want to take care of another man's kids.
Even says it's a numbers game, matching with several men at once and going on dates with multiple guys in a single week. This just highlights the recreational nature of modern dating. There's no real investment, no depth, just a revolving door of dates and quick encounters.
While I sip on this, let me tell you the details of the date. We met on Hinge. I just opened the app and I just went like. I matched with about 6. I've now been chatting to about 3. And now I have a date with 1. It's a numbers game.
And what's the result of this rapid, low investment dating culture? Well, Maddie's own experiences tell us. She's pretty transparent. She's been ghosted countless times. She's gone on a record number of dates, and yet nothing has transitioned into a serious long-term relationship.
Did I not tell you, a lot of when women don't understand statistics, this is why a lot of men need to wake up and realize that nothing lasts forever. When I saw this idiot in my comments, that watches, guys, a lot of simps, I realize a lot of simps, they're watching one video after another video after another video, and then they come at me and they'll direct me AG because they're speaking directly to me, saying that, trying to contradict things that I'm saying, but then they'll say you're saying this in every video. And here's the thing, I'm saying this in every video because it's the truth. And the fact that you're watching every video but you're a simp, that means that your mind consciously You know that your simping is wrong. You know that the things you're saying is wrong. If you didn't know that they were wrong, you wouldn't be watching all of these videos. You would have moved on by now. Guys, the Simps, I've realized it that a lot of the Simps are my biggest fans. You don't watch a 45-minute video if I haven't engaged you. If you damn well don't, if your brain, even though you're a simp on the surface and you refuse to consciously accept what I am saying, you subconsciously, your brain damn well knows that I'm right. Because if you didn't know that I was right, you wouldn't keep watching my content. Well, guys, when I come across content that I absolutely hate, that infuriates me, you think I'm going to sit there and watch tons of this? You know? But if I have people, these Sims that are watching one video after another video after another video, and then they're complaining in the comments trying to refute the things I'm saying, the fact is that they subconsciously know what I'm saying is right, but they are refusing to accept it because they do not want to accept reality. They want to keep on simping. They want to keep putting women on pedestals. They want to keep on operating as agents of the state. But the fact remains that they are still biologically men, and their subconscious brains know what they're doing is wrong. And as a result of that, they are forced to continue engaging. So it's basically they are fighting within themselves. It is a fight within themselves over accepting the reality of things while trying to refute it and live in a false reality. Many of these women that are going out into the streets, they are also discovering that there's nothing out there for them. Because once you remove the guys who are just trying to hit and quit, once you remove the guys that don't actually have the ability to provide for a woman, and we're not talking about the 100K guys, we're talking about the 50K guys, okay? Once you take out these guys, once you factor out like a lot of these things, you realize that the dating pool is much smaller. And as men are moving forward, most men do not want women with a high body counts, and increasingly men are tired. They're not going to tolerate the crap anymore. They're starting to say, what does a woman actually bring to the table? What do you actually have to offer? What can you do for me? And women are furious. A lot of women are absolutely furious that men dare to even ask these questions. Even though women have no problem saying, what have you done for me lately? Or what do you bring to the table? They are petrified of a man asking the exact same questions that women ask themselves, that women ask men. The reason why is because they bring nothing to the table. They have been conditioned for so long to believe that they are the table, that they have nothing to bring. This is the reason why they attack and they tear down women in other countries. When men go overseas to even Japan and they start tearing down these women, Mayumi was ballistic. I really like Mayumi. We're pretty good friends. Her husband, great people, really great people. I talk to them pretty regularly, and off YouTube. And she was like so pissed off. There was this Chinese woman who went over there from America, and she was furious that men were succeeding in Japan. And she basically, said that these men are known as losers back home in Japan, which is absolute garbage, total lies. And then she went on to say that, yeah, these men are killing it over there, but they're like losers. So, the Japanese women are picking up the losers back home. And she compared a Hollywood celebrity like Eddie Rickman or some Redmayne, like one of the most handsome guys on the planet, to a loser back home, saying that, you would think that they would want someone like Brad Pitt, but no, Eddie Redmayne is popular. Eddie Redmayne is beautiful. Eddie Redmayne is a beautiful man. Guys, like he's like 6 feet tall. He's one of the most decorated actors of our time. He's a millionaire. And I mean, this guy's hardcore famous, hardcore handsome, crazy crazy abs, and she's calling him a loser back home and saying that's what's popular in Japan. So if you don't understand the unrealistic standards of women in Western society today, it just illustrates how much they hate us. And then when they cannot compete with women in other countries, they basically try to say that these women are picking up the garbage that women in Western society does in other westernized countries do not want. And Mayumi was basically like, if she and her sisters in Japan ran into this woman, she promises that she would not have a good time. I've said this plenty of times about the Japanese. The Japanese are polite, but the Japanese are not kind. The Japanese are listen, I don't want to say nah. You don't understand. People misunderstand the Japanese. They take polite behavior and they misconstrue it with them being kind, or especially with them being weak. That's a very, very big mistake to make. And that's how women operate. They take politeness as weakness. They view kindness as weakness. They mistake politeness for kindness, and they view that as weakness. Guys, there's so many people who go to Japan with this attitude. They mess around and find out. For example, one of the things I was worried about is ending up in a Japanese jail. And people on the surface, everyone's like, "Oh, Japan's so cool, and these people are so passive. They act like Japanese people are penguins." They don't understand. Like, these people will throw you in prison. Okay, the Japanese are not weak. The Japanese are strong. And we're not talking about anime or manga. Japanese are strong, and they can fuck your life up. But a lot of people seem to think that they can go over there and do whatever they want because they appear to be kind and respectful towards others. That's how you end up in a world of absolute hurt. And women in Western society, they are furious seeing men going overseas and succeeding in countries like Japan. So they're going to not only tear down the men, but they're also going to tear down the women and then tear down the country as well. Even women who are actively living in the country are tearing down Japanese men, Japanese women, because if they can't take if tearing down the passport kings is not enough, then they also have to tear down the women and attack the women. This is how women in West. And so I showed you, like, women don't actually care about each other. The sisterhood is built upon quicksand. They'll work together to collectively, extract wealth and resources from men, to tear down men, and to use men, and to work through the state to get what they want, as operating as agents of the state. But as soon as the incentive is gone, as soon as there is a crisis, and working together is no longer going to benefit them, they will turn on each other ruthlessly. We call it henpecking. When you look at a farm and you have a rooster, when the rooster flies away and just leaves the hen, flies to the top of the barn, what happens? The hens begin to peck at one another. The truth is that without men in a society to stabilize women, women become absolutely vitriolic to one another. Unless you have structure within a society, okay? Unless you have a man or a madame or whomever to create structure in the society. And to be very, very clear, regardless of how strong a woman is, you need a strong man there. You still need strong men, okay? Because when everything fails, who steps in? It has to be the men. Look at women's prisons, y'all. Women's prisons are pretty horrible. Like, I've heard that they're actually worse than men's prisons. Like, men, like, no one wants to work in a women's prison. Women don't want to work in women's prisons. And the crazy thing is that women actively avoid confrontations with female inmates. They have to have men in there to deal with these women. Okay? Like, when you're dealing with criminal women, it's men who deal with them, not so much women. There's always has to be a bunch of men to deal with these women. It's a crazy reality. Men are providers and protectors. Society is nothing without men. If men refuse to enforce the ideals of society, of the state has no power. Think about it very carefully, guys. If men refuse to operate as agents of the state, as enforcers of the state, as police officers and PO and police officers and people who work in the prison, so prison officers and so forth, without these people and members and other members of law enforcement or within various divisions of the state has no power. Without men doing this work, the state has no power. Women say they hold up half the sky, but whenever women have had these women's marches, they all take off from work and they go march in Washington and wear their pink hats. Nothing happens. Men basically hold everything down one way or another. But if men ever tried anything like that, it would basically be, a preview before the apocalypse. Okay? Let's just say Jason Voorhees would be roaming the streets while men would be chilling inside, having cocktails and smoking cigars. And it would be women who would basically, it would be women who would basically have to deal with it, deal with the situations, more and more. Guys, you know how funny it would be if Jason was real? Like, this is America. This is America. Like, can you imagine Jason showing up at your door, like, like that's the sound from the movies. They're like, oh my gosh, it's Jason. Jason messes around fight. That would be so hilarious. Y'all, could you imagine if Jason was real? And he rolled up into the wrong place, rolled up into the hood, or rolled up into the country. My gosh. Oh my gosh, bro. Jason, guys, y'all, Jason wouldn't be the one making people disappear. All right, Jason would be the one who would be disappearing. They'd have to someone would have to put out a report like Jason has gone missing. They're like, what do you mean Jason has gone missing? Jason has gone missing. We're Jason's family, and we know what he's been doing, but he's been in touch with us over the years. We're keeping tabs on him. He still shows up for family dinners, once a year, and we have something good going, but we haven't heard from him in a while. He said that he was going down to the country to go handle business, but he went down there and we don't know what happens. He just disappeared, and this is not like him. And we are concerned about we're so concerned about him. You guys have a miss. Yes, he's done some evil in this world. He's done a lot of bad, but he has a good heart. All right. That man has been through a lot, and we just need your help to find him because he's gone missing, and we don't know what these people have done to our beloved Jason. Yo, my gosh, bro. Oh my gosh. Could you imagine what they would do with him in the country? Oh my goodness. And they're like, oh, Jason's like, oh, well, if you try to off me, I'll just keep on coming back. Guys, they would turn Jason into they would turn him into like wood chippings and sit around a fire throwing pieces of him inside of it. Literally, they would turn him into wood chippings and sit around a flame throwing pieces of Jason into it. All right. Oh my gosh. I'm telling you, like, the world is such a funny place. The world is such a funny place.
Successful connection she had? A few months of fun with a guy she was casually seeing. This was basically a situationship, a friends with benefits dynamic.
That was in June, but the date actually happened in May, and it's now July. This is how the party ended. Absolutely gonna see him again. And I did see him again. I actually saw him the next day. I offered to help clean his house after the house party, so I went to his house and we did no cleaning. So it's been like 2-3 months of us seeing each other fairly casually, and it's been a lot of fun, but we have now decided to stay friends. We move on to the next.
On to the next one.
Just to be very clear, guys, they've decided to stay friends. In other words, he'll still hit her up, or he just got, when he wants to clap cheeks, or he just got tired of her. That was a situationship. And notice, these guys don't pay for anything. They get it for free. Okay? But then she's going to decide at some point, guys, when she realizes that she's running out of time, or she has run out of time, that she's now going to get very, very serious. She's not going to be doing any hookups during dating. She's going to be dating seriously. And men are going to basically have to just understand that this is how it is. All the while, of course, she's not entirely serious, because while she's only dating seriously, on the surface, that's what she claims. She's still running around with Chad and Tyrone. She still has an entire list of dudes, because women cannot live without it the way men can. Most men have to live without intimacy for most of their lives. Okay. Women, on the other hand, they don't. They get it on a regular basis for years on end. That's how they end up with these massive body counts whenever they want it from different dudes in the same day. So when she says I'm dating with purpose now, and they start acting like this, and if any guy is gonna have to understand that it's not going to happen. It's only where he's gonna take me out, he's gonna spend money on me, he's gonna show me that he's a gentleman, and only if we are in a committed relationship. So he's gonna be out there acting like she's a virgin. She's literally going to be out there acting like she is a virgin, and he's going to have to wait and treat her like a lady and all this other jazz before he gets access to what Chad and Tyrone got for free. And and like I said, she doesn't actually like this guy. She's just using this guy to build her life off him. And all the while, Chad and Tyrone are still in the background. She's still seeing Chad and Tyrone. She's still going through her book, because she has an entire book, a list on her phone of all these different guys, and she just basically selects one on any given evening, goes, has a hookup with them while she's focusing on finding a plan B guy to build her life off. And even then, if she finds said plan B guys and plan B guy and marries plan B guy, in many cases, she'll still go back to Chad, Tyrone, Ray, Pookie, Enrique, Miguel, or Little Pancho when she wants to have a baby, and she'll basically just match it up. So, for example, if the guy is white, she will go with Chad. If the guy is black, she will go with Tyrone. Sometimes she might even just risk it. She's like, well, I'm dealing with a light-skinned Tyrone, and if I have a baby with this guy, I might be able to swing it. I'm just being so honest with you, or if I have Little Pancho's baby, this guy, he might not figure it out, because Little Pancho is such a funny dude, right? I'm with a black guy or I'm a white guy. Little Pancho, it could go either way, and I could just pass the kid off as his. So if it's a black guy, if it's a black guy that I'm with, I'll just basically cut his hair short and dress and make him look like he's a look more like African American. If he's a white guy, I'll let his hair grow. If I'm married to a white guy, I'll let the kid's hair grow out, and basically try to make him look more like he is more like that. So basically, this is how women will tailor their children. And all the while, it doesn't matter if it's Little Pancho's baby. It's Little Pancho's baby, and they're trying to pass it off as something that it really isn't. This is the reality that we live in. Women are increasingly easier to figure out. Just basically think the worst, and you'll basically, begin to understand how they think and operate. It's sad, but it's very, very true.
Where modern women are today, engaging in short-term, casual flings that don't fulfill any real long-term emotional or relationship needs. It's recreational. Even when Maddie talks about the details of her dates, it feels like she's at an amusement park, sampling different rides. Dating has become just another form of entertainment. As long as it's fun, as long as she gets the right vibe, she'll keep riding, no matter how shallow the connection.
Debrief the girls. I have good news and bad news. Actually, I think it's just all bad news. So we had a sleepover, and you're not going to judge me on that because I'm an adult and I can make my own choices. However, we had a great night. We had dinner. It was very romantic. There was a lot of physical touch. I was touching his back. And then he stayed the night and we cuddled. And it was very cute. But this morning, I don't think we had a conversation. So I think it died. To be honest, I don't think it was fully him either. I think that things changed for me as well. Am I a man? I don't think we're as into each other as we thought we were. I'm really sorry that wasn't a happy ending. Well, anyway, I'm doing it for the plot. Just to close this chapter for you, it's been 2 weeks and we haven't spoken. I just thought I should let you know in case you asked for an update. There is none.
You see, guys, modern women can no longer pair bond, and they don't understand that window is closing. A lot of the guys that are also being with these guys are not serious about marrying them. They're not serious about having children with them. Many of these guys are just situationships. These are just hookups. These are just for fun, and these guys are scrolling through them. Many of these women don't realize that these guys would never even consider them for marriage. Okay, and then guys, as more men are walking away from dating and relationships, you're going to basically see women using other ways, other means of trying to get access to a man's resources. Everything from making false statements against a man's character or things that he's done, to petitioning the state to begin extracting wealth and resources from men and targeting men and boys, just like what they're doing in the UK now, where if they believe that a boy is even susceptible to extreme misogyny or influences of the manosphere or Andrew, Mr. Tate, then they have to be reported to the Department of Terrorism, and they will be hauled off and taken into custody. This is what's happening over there. Basically, we're thought policing, but this is all about control. So if women realize that men are leaving leaving society, just like the state, they will go to great lengths to drag these men back and to monitor these men. Of course, this will only result in men further pulling away. That's how the Roman Empire ended up collapsing. Right now the United States is operating based entirely on slave labor. Can you imagine being a man and having a child with a woman who never loved you, never wanted to be with you? She leaves you, or you have to leave her, and now you are stuck paying child support for 18 years. And then after you pay or more, and then after you complete paying all of that child support, guess what? She dumps the child onto the street, and now the child turns to you and says, "Hey, Dad, I need help." It's a miserable reality. And this is how a lot of women absolutely operate, which is one of the core reasons why it's best not to have children. And be careful when you go overseas to other countries. There's a lot of dudes who travel overseas, they go overseas and think they're going to have children with these women. What they don't realize is that these women there's basically an agreement. I forget the name of agreement, but it's between different countries, and it allows these women in other countries to collect child support from the men back home. So for example, they're able to collect child support from the men in these countries. And so it's for Japan as an example of that country. Of one of those countries. And trust me, like I don't know if the Philippines is in on it yet, but like Mexico, for example, it's a part of that as well. And they will help these women to go after men and collect child support. And you might say, well, why is it that America would want to help women in other countries to get child support for children that are in other countries? So this does not directly benefit America. Like, do they really hate men that much? Well, they do. They hate us more than cockroaches. But also, if what you don't comprehend is this: when child support is being collected, the state is collecting a portion of that. The state is also collecting a portion of the child support and putting that into their pocket. So they're getting paid from that. In fact, they take out a loan for 18 years on that child support. It's crazy how states operate. So if it doesn't matter if the woman is in another country, the child is in another country, America and in countries like the US have every incentive in the world to put the man on child support, even if the child and the woman are in other countries, because they're still going to be able to get their money off that man. Like, guys, we are basically modern day slaves where the state is looking for any possible way to extract wealth and resources from men, and women will operate as agents of the state. So if you have a woman overseas in another country, the state's like, okay, perfect. We'll allow her to operate as an agent of the state to reallocate wealth and resources from men to the state. Women were not designed to live by themselves. Also, women were not designed to live without a husband. And it was unbelievable where I had this simp having the nerve to try to tell me that he knows a lot of women and they're happy by themselves and they're doing well by themselves, but he completely ignores, are they completely alone? Do they have children? Do they have families? Because if a woman, when we're talking about childless single women, okay, it's a whole different story. Childless guys, as you get older, there will be health issues. As you get older, things will happen. Women are not designed to have to go through life just by themselves. I know women who basically they live alone. As soon as they're by themselves and living alone, they go absolutely ballistic and they start to panic, because if they do not have someone there, they don't know what to do. They become lonely. Guys, while a man could live by himself and feel comfortable by himself, even living in a crappy neighborhood, many women are not the same. They're basically afraid of, like, they hear a noise at the door and they go crazy. A man, on the other hand, like, we're basically survivalists. The average man is born a survivalist. We're ready for whatever. Yeah, some guys are, kitty cats, but, in general, men basically know that they have to protect themselves. And a lot of guys, especially like dudes in the country, they live for that shit. Guys like Mayumi's husband, they live for that type of stuff. They live for the type of stuff where a man comes onto their land and tries them. They live for these types of moments. So it's really not a joke.
And this brings us to a crucial point: how modern society has become detrimental to dating. the ease of meeting people via apps, the instant messaging, the constant communication via text. It all waters down the significance of connecting with someone. There's no anticipation, no build-up. Everything is too accessible. Maddie's dates fizzle out not because of a lack of chemistry, but because the very act of dating has been devalued. It's all too easy, too casual, too meaningless.
I have to go on dates. Let's get ready for date 2. Update on date 1 if you watched it. Remember this? I'm gonna see him again. Yeah, that didn't happen. That was a lie. I don't know what happened. We did text for a little bit and then like after a couple of days it just died. So I think we ghosted each other. Thank you, next bitch.
Thank you, next bitch.
Think about it. Maddie is in constant communication with her dates before and after the actual date. There's no time to wonder, to miss someone, to build a genuine connection. It's all done through a screen. A quick text here, a Snapchat there. The more she texts with them, the faster the connection fades. Because the mystery is gone. There's no depth, just shallow, repetitive interactions.
Last year, I think in total I had 5 or 6 dates in total. And we're in April and I've had 5, which is really promising because mostly I get ghosted or left on red a lot of the time. Not all like cancelled on because people just don't want to commit to a date. I'm happy.
And here's the irony. Despite going on all these dates, Maddie's most successful outcome was a friendship. And she even says she thinks she might be the problem. But in reality, it's not just her. It's the entire dating landscape. The culture of instant gratification has eroded the foundation of meaningful relationships.
Hi, it's me again. It's been a couple of weeks and I've just finished this edit and I can't help but think maybe I'm the problem here. Indecisiveness and passiveness is not always desired quality in a person, but it was a second date. We didn't know each other. I don't know if you meant to push through those feelings or not, but I'm learning. In the dating game, you know, there's times when it's me. Hi, I'm the problem, it's me. Help. Okay, I'll see you in the next one. I'm doing it for the plot. Love you, bye.
The truth is,
A lot of these women are crying themselves to sleep at night. Just to let you know, guys, you know, women, I think men have said this very well. It's very easy to look at the way women are today and to feel like, you know, these people, like, where's the humanity? The truth is that most of these women have sold their souls, all right? And that's the reason why they come across as soulless and hateful, because they basically have compromised their essence of being to the point where it's hard for them to even connect with their higher selves. They have moved away from God and they have embraced that of the Jezebel spirit of the evil one.
sex and intimacy are giving away so easily, the emotional and mental investment just isn't there. Maddie moves on quickly after her situationship, and the same pattern repeats itself. She's talking to multiple men at the same time, just as these men are dating other women. Everyone is replaceable, and because of that, no one is special. This is what happens when modern women and men treat dating as something recreational rather than purposeful.
Update on date 5. I think I'll see him again. We'll see. I saw him again. I didn't film it as a date. I'm so sorry.
Like, every woman seems to think that she's on The Bachelor right now. By the way, guys, you know, choosing a girlfriend is like hiring an employee. That's something that I think is very relevant. Go and check out our article. Check out the Angry Guy Clubhouse. We're dropping this article. Choosing a girlfriend is like hiring an employee. You can find a link to a description of the video. Go and check it out. And just check out the Angry Guy Clubhouse in general. It's really great. You know, really great. And when you join, you actually get a free copy. You'll get a free copy of the Digital Nomad Blueprint. And if you check, and you know, we have articles on here, for example, live your best life. No one else will do it for you. Women are driving men to isolation and celibacy. Society must collapse so that men can rebuild it. Women's rights crumbled after the Roman Empire collapsed. We also have guides in here for you guys. So, for example, how to build a thriving business empire and have fun doing it. Mark Cuban's billionaire blueprint from mac and cheese to millions. Unlock your path to passive income with our complete affiliate marketing guide for beginners. We have a lot of value over here. We have podcasts. We have extended videos, guys. We have something for everyone. We have stories on Gen X, you know, basically how Gen X survived the harshest of times. A lot of people think that Gen X was basically made, you know, it was like a secret government program to create these super soldiers. And, you know, because what they say about Gen X is I'm still amazed that I'm here. Gen Xers that are still around today are the ones that survive. So you can find a link to the Angry Guy Clubhouse in the description of the video, and you can find a link to the article that I mentioned in the description, so you can go check that out because it's really crazy. And guys, you will get a free copy of our blueprint, like I said. You'll get a free copy of the free digital nomad. You'll get a free copy of the digital nomad blueprint when you sign up to the clubhouse. So yeah, it's easy to sign up, guys. Go check it out, sign up, enjoy the content. Enjoy the content. We have a chat. You can connect with me over there. Some of you guys message me. It's really lit. I don't know, guys. What women are doing here is it's a situationship situation. She's going from one guy to the other, one guy to the other, one guy to the other, and she doesn't understand that as time is passing, her chances of landing a guy are reducing, and the number of men that are interested in her are reducing. Most of the guys that she's going out with right now, they have no interest in marrying her or having children with her. And a lot of these are broke boys too that are telling them lies, because a lot of these men have learned just lie to her. All right. How much money do you make a year? Oh, I make about 6 figures. Okay. What do you do for a living? Just invent something. Okay. Dress the part, rent a car. This is what these dudes are doing. All right. They're giving the woman the lie. They're giving the woman the lie that she wanted. And now she's basically going from one place to another, one guy to another. And I told you, as soon as she basically realized, it just hits her like, oh my God, I'm out of time. She's gonna basically say that I'm not hooking up anymore. I'm dating with purpose. There's not gonna be any more sleepovers and all this BS. And she thinks that she's the one in control. She doesn't even realize that good men are now in their soft guy era. So they're gonna say, what do you bring to the relationship? How about you cash at me something? What, do you think I'm going to take you to a restaurant? And a lot of these dudes are going to say, listen, come over. That's where, like, either come over. And especially in Western society, that's another thing. Most of these men have learned their lessons and the dangers of casual hookups. So they're not going to do that in Western society. So even then, it's going to become hard for her to leverage that. And most men today, especially with this YouTube channel, they basically do a quick search and they find out who she is. They're going to simply say, okay, so basically you are for the streets. I am not going to date you. I'm not going to have a relationship with you, because no one wants what every other guy has had.
I don't know if I'm going to see him again. We're still chatting. Anyway, I'm getting ready for a date with a new person.
And what's really being revealed here is that Maddie, like many, 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 many women in her position, doesn't need a man for survival or even stability. She lives alone, pays her own bills, and can satisfy her own basic needs. That's why dating becomes nothing more than an amusement park ride for her. It's something to pass the time, something for fun, but not something serious or long-lasting.
It was actually a surprisingly good date for something that I was like only medium excited for. I will say that the Uber on the way there was like a party. But he's really kind, he's intelligent, he has an accent that I wasn't expecting. That was cute. Yeah, we had a couple drinks and we had a kiss. I love a kiss. Immediately handsy though. I think I'll see him again. We'll see. I'm doing it for the plot.
Modern dating, as shown through Maddie McCrae's diary, is now for recreational use only. Women like Maddie don't take dating seriously because they don't have to. The culture has shifted, and what once was a sacred connection between two people has now become a game, a casual thrill ride. And unless the environment drastically changes, where both men and women start valuing relationships over instant gratification, the future of dating looks bleak.
Here's the thing, guys. Women cannot work forever. Maddie cannot keep this going forever. I don't, she has her own money right now. She has her own position. But as they get older, women need to be taken care of, and they need something. They basically become like a puppy without a home. Although I'd say less like a puppy and like a really bad version of Old Yeller. And and it just does not work out for them. They become absolutely miserable. So she's having the time of her life right now, but eventually it's going to just hit her like just very quickly that, hey, I'm out of time. And fewer and fewer guys want to go out with me. They want to date me. Like, she's in her 30s right now. She looks older than that, but she looks like her mid to late 30s. And that's what the streets will do to you. The streets will age you hard. But where is she going to be in 10 years? Where's she going to be in 10 years? I mean, what, in her 40s? pushing 50 and still trying this kind of thing. Guys, it's crazy, and especially as hard times are arriving, modern women don't realize that they put themselves between a rock and a hard place.
Messaged him that night saying, I had a really great time, thank you so much for dinner. And he replied the next morning with, nice. So there was a few more text exchanges with like 12 to 24 hours in between. I didn't see him again. You know, that's what I get for going on a date with a Scorpio and a Slytherin, because everyone was telling me that that was going to be the best sex of my life, but I guess he's not going to slither into my chamber of secrets, is he? On to the next step.
Modern dating is just that. Modern. It's convenient, it's easy, but it's also empty.
You see, here's the thing that I think that Manosphere Highlights Daily leaves out. These are non-traditional women that want traditional men. Okay, so she might be having fun right now, but she's going to be looking for a traditional man to provide for her and protect her, while she brings absolutely nothing to the relationship other than drama. And the funny thing is that in anyone who gets into a relationship with her, if someone actually puts a ring on the finger, guys, she's gonna have a roster of other dudes that she's running out to. She will never be able to be in a solid, happy relationship because she cannot pair bond. She needs a regular rush of excitement. So any simp that she jumps into a relationship with is a real poor bastard. And he really deserves whatever is coming, because if he knows who she is, if he's seen her social media and he knows what she's up to, then he should consciously know. But a lot of men, they don't have Uncle Angry in their life to explain to them that she is never yours. It was just your turn. Okay. She's just basically using you to build her life off you, or use you as a emotional blanket so that she has something to make her feel good, at nighttime or whatever. But the reality is that she doesn't even like you. You're just there to be there. Okay. You're basically a toy for her. All right. You're a possession that she can use, abuse, and then throw away whenever she feels like it. And the men that she loves, they're still there. All right. Chad and Tyrone, they're still there. Little Poncho, they're still there. Those are the men that she loves. Those are the men that she actually desires. And that's not going to change anytime soon. That's the reality that a lot of men refuse to wake up to, but they need to wake up to it. They need to accept it, because the sooner they accept it, the sooner that they can live better lives. I tell you guys, it is just how it is right now, but men have to be consciously aware of how society is and how society views them. What do you guys think regarding all of this? Women are suffering the consequences of men going their own way. Let me know your thoughts. We'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away. And cheers.